Hello and welcome to the 3M3 Madcast. This week, we saw The Hunger Games and a bunch of other stuff as well. If you need me, I'll be crossing the fence into District 11, where I hear they just got Grease on DVD.
Hello and welcome to this week's 90s music special of Madcast with guests Belinda Carlisle and Roxette not on the show.
Love, but it's over now.
Chris Millward there doing his best to fill in the very large gap in our formation today, not filled by that woman with the blonde hair out of Roxette and Belinda Carlisle.
Yeah, and I broke the microphone as well.
Yeah, he did, yeah. I'm going to have to fix that in post, Chris.
Yeah.
So, how are you?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm great. We didn't do the bit where you say, my name's Alec, and I say, my name's Chris. But I normally say it in an amusing, jokey way, which people at home find really funny.
Welcome to this week's episode of Madcast. My name's Alec.
My name's Chris. That's a bit for the canned laughter. I say canned laughter, but it's supposed to represent the audience at home laughing.
Yeah, because they're not here. They would laugh, but they're just not here.
Well, quite.
So you're good, though?
I'm good, yes.
Good.
That's so good, I've given it 2 goods.
If it's good enough for you, Chris, it's good enough for me. As another 90s band sung.
Yeah. Which band was that?
That was Dodgy.
Dodgy.
And the band was called Dodgy as well.
Did they have any other hits?
Staying Out for the Summer, yeah.
Oh, was that them?
Yeah. It was basically Don't Fear the Reaper, which is quite appropriate, isn't it?
Yeah.
For this week.
I know.
Yeah. But first, Chris, you know what time it is. It's entertainment news time. Where's your jingle?
Entertainment news. Entertainment news. Just a short one this time.
Oh, okay.
They've pretty much been 3-act operas for the last couple of weeks,
yes,
haven't they?
That's very true. No, I'm very grateful for that. Okay, we got a little bit to get through this week, which is a bit nice compared to last week. First off, the best story of the week, Chris. Did you see this? A Kazakh shooting team. A Kazakhstan. I can't even get this out. A Kazakhstani shooting team was in a competition in the Ukraine. Where was this?
No, it was Kuwait.
Kuwait, sorry.
Yeah.
They were at a world championship in Kuwait, and they were proud to stand up on the podium to accept their national anthem, and were instead sung the national anthem of Kazakhstan as written by Borat.
Yeah, as featured in the film Borat,
where he told everyone how their prostitutes were the cleanest prostitutes in the area.
It was that verse as well.
So it's pretty
best industry in the region. We invented toffee and trouser belts. Kazakhstan's prostitutes cleanest in the region, except of course for Turkmenistan.
So the poor people of Kazakhstan were humiliated by that, and they did have a second presentation later. But I think the damage is done at that stage, don't you?
But I think it's all right because the Kazakh people, they tend to have a bit of a sense of humour about these things, don't they?
Well, they did ban it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They did ban the whole movie.
Yeah. They ban everything in Kazakhstan. used to be in the Soviet Union. What would you expect?
And it's not what you would expect from a country with the cleanest prostitutes in the region as well.
Except, of course, for Turkmenistan.
Well, yeah, but that's obvious. What else happened this week? We had a new Doctor Who companion unveiled to replace Karen Gillan. She looks, pretty ordinary, don't you think?
Well, she just looks a bit lightweight, doesn't she? Yeah. Young, pretty.
Wasn't that what we thought about Karen Gillan, though? And she's sort of grown on me a bit, I think. Although she does have a sort of shouty side to her that irritates me.
But she's quite savvy, and she's got quite a good sense of comic timing as well.
I'm quite prepared to give her the benefit of the doubt, I think, for the time being. See what happens.
I don't know. She just looks more the same, really, which I don't know. I can't help but feel Doctor Who needs something a bit new.
Yeah, it needs an update, doesn't it?
Yeah, just needs a shake-up, really.
Anywho, there's other things going on in the world as well. Todd Phillips came out this week and said that for everybody who's a massive fan of The Hangover 2, you'll be sorry to hear that The Hangover 3 will be the last one.
No!
I know it's hard.
End of an era.
Just try and get through it. Maybe we can get through it together.
Really, Hangover 1 should have been the last Hangover film.
Well, Yeah, I must say I'm not particularly interested in seeing any more, having seen the first one. But it was good.
Yeah, it was. Hangover 1 is a good film, but one film was enough. No more. Don't need to do any more. You know Zoolander 2? That terrible film, Zoolander 2?
Wait,
no, you don't, because it was never made.
Well, hey! Zoolander is awesome.
It is, yeah.
What was I... Yeah, and lastly, Chris, I noticed congratulations are in order.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I hear you're getting married.
Where did you hear that?
I heard it all over the place.
Oh, really? Was it in the Times by any chance?
Well, I heard that you were marrying a lady who plays poker.
Oh, yes, a champion poker player, you say?
Yeah. It's I'm not wrong about that, am I?
I'm afraid you are. Once again, David Mitchell beat me to it by mere seconds. There was, yeah.
Are you saying the only thing that prevented you being the one who married Victoria Coren was the fact that you've never met her?
Well, yeah, but I'm sure it was only a matter of time before I had met her, and she'd have realised. She'd have realised that what she didn't want was someone who was almost exact. She didn't want David Mitchell. She wanted someone who was almost exactly like David Mitchell.
And you're the man of her dreams in that instance, Chris.
Yeah.
Maybe every time she thinks, there's just some things about David I don't like. It's just because they're the bits that don't match you. She'll never know what she lost. Yeah. She'll never know what she lost.
All these failings that David Mitchell has, I wish I could find someone who had those times a million.
And without the money.
Yeah. Without the money or fame or brilliant career.
But never mind. So that's the very last thing I'll say on entertainment.
But it's sweet though, isn't it?
It is nice. It's nice when people and he's done very well for himself there. Yeah. Old David Mitchell. Congratulations to both of them. Well, to him, to her, commiserations. Hey. What were you thinking?
Well, they're quite well suited actually. They're both kind of right wing, aren't they?
Sort of geeky, sort of people.
Yeah, brainy, geeky. Although I'd say I wouldn't like to be there when they play strip poker. I'll put it that way.
It'll be one-sided.
I'll come naked.
Well, you just start removing layers of your own skin after a certain point. But doesn't she present that appallingly kind of middle-class game show as well
on BBC Four?
All about words, and vocabulary and stuff. None of this. I'll have a pee, please, Bob.
No. Or golden balls.
It's only Connect, isn't it?
Yeah.
Amazing. Terrible show. Enjoy that, everybody who likes it. So, Chris, we went to see a movie.
To contact the show, go to 3m3.posterous.com.
So, Chris, tell me all about The Hunger Games.
Hunger Games stars Jennifer Lawrence, who comes from a very poor district of a dystopian society. Now, this dystopian society, there are 12 districts who rebelled against the government, and as a punishment for this rebellion, they have to elect a boy and a girl from each district to go and fight a battle royale style fight to the death in a sort of arena somewhere. Well, it's not really arena, but but as I say, basically it's battle royale.
Battle royale is a Japanese movie.
Yeah, and so Jennifer Lawrence volunteers because her sister is picked, and the boy who is picked from her district turns out has a bit of a crush on her. So yeah, that's and so off they go to fight to the death with various other people from other districts, and on the way there they're mentored by a chap who's won it before, played by Woody Harrelson.
Mm-hmm.
They also meet the president of this dystopian society, played by Donald Sutherland.
Yeah.
And there are other peripheral parts played by Stanley Tucci and Toby Jones, who are like presenting the show.
He doesn't have a lot of lines, though, does he, Toby Jones?
No.
Just a bit of giggling.
Well, yeah, but I think it's his voice actually as the announcer in the arena.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm pretty sure that's his voice.
Okay.
And oddly, he gets more lines sort of as voiceover than he does as his character. And so yeah, that's pretty much the plot of the novel. I don't want to say too much more without giving stuff away.
Fine. So tell me about the star then, Jennifer Lawrence. Where will people know Jennifer Lawrence from? She's not, as I claimed last week, the woman who was in Out of Sight with George Clooney. That was, of course, Jane Lynch. So
absolutely.
Tell me about Jennifer Lawrence. What's she like?
Jennifer Lawrence she's really good. She's supposed to be playing a 16-year-old. She doesn't look 16.
Well, she's 21, isn't she?
Yeah,
the actress. But you know,
she was from. You said Winter's Bone, didn't you?
Yeah. This is a bit unfair for me to ask you. Really, you haven't seen Winter's Bone.
Well,
she was Oscar nominated in Winter's Bone for playing a very believable sort of lower class person in America. And it's similar to Frozen River that you told us about a couple of weeks ago, in that it's very downbeat but very well acted, but not something. It's something it's hard to recommend to people as like a good fun time.
Yeah,
but is still worth seeing. So Jennifer Lawrence is a very good, very fine young actress, actually.
Yeah.
People who don't watch miserable films about poor people will have seen her in X-Men First Class, where she played Mystique.
Oh, yes, she did,
and,
didn't she?
She was also in a couple of other things recently, but Winter's Bone and X-Men First Class have been her main ones. But she's very good, actually. Yeah, and it's nice to see new talents coming through, isn't
it? And really good sort of emotional range as well.
Yeah,
you sort of buy into her sort of emotional journey, don't you? She starts off very. She doesn't want to be much of a part of the process at all, but obviously Woody Harrelson says, "Look, you're not going to survive unless you can get sponsors," and so you've got to play up to the crowd. Essentially, this whole event is televised, and so you can see her sort of letting herself get more and more into it as the games progress.
Yeah,
and it was. I really enjoyed this film. I really, 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 really liked it. The first half hour I felt was really sold it very well. It was like I told you, it was like the journey to hell, but the journey to hell looks a lot like The Fifth Element. I mean, aesthetically, it was aesthetically it owed a quite a big debt to The Fifth Element, in that a lot of the costumes were very outlandish. A lot of the set design was very, very colourful. As I say, a lot like that Luc Besson film, but as a sort of backdrop, I mean, what separates it from something like Battle Royale, which we've mentioned before, is that there's this whole sort of it's a film with a social conscience. That she comes from a very poor district. It's a coal mining district.
Yeah.
And obviously some of the other districts are wealthier than others because they basically train young people from an early age to volunteer. Interestingly, the system of being picked by ballot for these games, or these Hunger Games, is a bit like the French system of conscription in the early 19th century.
Oh yeah,
in that it was done by ballot, and but you could volunteer if you wanted to as a sort of a delegate or a sub or a substitute in favour of someone from a richer family.
Okay.
Basically, they pay you off to do it. So yeah, and but I'm making it all seem a bit academic, but it's still quite an exciting film. As I say, when actually the game starts, it doesn't have. I mean, firstly, it doesn't have Battle Royale sort of nihilism. It's a lot more heartfelt and a lot more. I mean, there's a lot more empathy between the characters, and it doesn't have the sort of visceral thrill of Battle Royale, which is really, because when that film was going for it, it's really going for it. Whereas I don't always feel it gets there with Hunger Games, but at the same time, it is a very enjoyable film. The action sequences are great. It has real heart as well. The central love story between the two people from District 12 who go into the games is incredibly sweet. And a real moment of humanity in what could have been a very bleak film.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's an interesting film as well, because in some ways it's about conformity. They're all having to run the rat race because they've got no other choice. So they've got to take part in these games. But at the same time, it's the little acts of defiance that comes through Like I mentioned to you, there's one when one of the characters dies. Jennifer Lawrence's character gives a salute to the television camera, and that has a massive ripple effect throughout the society. And as I say, it's wonderful how to see how those little acts, whereas they seem superficially to conform with what the society wants, have repercussions that actually go against what those in authority want people to do. It's I really like this film.
Yeah, I think it's nice to finally see a film at the cinema. The last film we saw at the cinema was Ghost Rider, and that made us very, very worried about the state of cinema, as all these terrible 3D nonsense fests did. But this film's just really human, don't you think?
Yeah.
In a way that Ghost Rider just was not. It just had no sort of emotional centre, no humanity about it.
No.
At all.
Yeah, I agree with that completely.
It was just a horrific failure on every single level. It's just nice. It's pretty human. I think the romantic subplot in it is a bit trite for me. I know it's a teen sort of thing, and it feels kind of tacked in to make it all work out nicely. Whereas as you say, Battle Royale, which this is extremely similar to Battle Royale.
Yes,
extremely similar. And if you're a bit older than the target audience for this, you should see Battle Royale definitely. But I think I don't really buy into the romantic angle. I think sadly the market is such post sort of Twilight and post the sort of rebirth of sort of romantic fiction for teens, if you like. That gave it's sort of like they're required to have a central love affair in it.
But I think no, because I think that's about conformity though, because the people watching those Hunger Games want those two characters to fall in love. So because everyone wants it, they sort of feel they have to.
Yeah.
But it's weird. But in the same time, it's very touching as well because they are two people falling because they're two people falling in love. You naturally root for them and empathise with them. So in that way, you're just like the people watching the Hunger Games.
It was definitely. I mean, it's odd, isn't it? Because it sort of has got that weird sort of thing about it. That relationship where you think, well, how sincere is the boy? How sincere is she? And have they just basically talked themselves into this very complicated situation?
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. That part of it is interesting. The actual romance between the two of them I didn't really buy into, but I guess that's because I'm a cold-hearted scumbag. But I think overall it's a complete rip-roaring success, this film.
Yeah, it's really good.
So go and see it, no matter how old you are. I think it's good fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the best thing I've seen this year, I think.
And we're going to contrast this.
Method.
We're going to contrast this with another entertainment story this week that you've been reading about, which is the complete failure, not complete, but almost complete failure of John Carter, Disney's blockbuster du jour.
Oh, yeah.
Which they've spent hundreds of millions of dollars on and got about a third of their money back.
Yeah, lost 200 million, apparently. Oh, 200 million?
Yeah, lost them tons and tons of money. Now, it's interesting about why these sorts of things happen. I have my opinion. I think it's as simple as just the title, Chris. I think it's based on books from years ago that no one reads, because I never read them when I was a boy. I know you probably didn't. And the title is just a guy's name. The trailer was incoherent, so you couldn't work out what was supposed to be going on. I just think maybe it is just the marketing side's gone horribly wrong on it.
Yeah.
But I just felt no affinity for it, had no desire to go see it.
I don't think the title's that big a deal. I think if they'd had a bigger star than Taylor Kitsch playing John Carter, I reckon they'd probably made a bit more profit, because people would be going to see that new Will Smith movie or that new Tom Cruise movie or that new XYZ movie.
And it's a shame, because we want there to be new franchises and things. I mean, we don't want them just to be doing Hangover 3 and, well, not necessarily new franchises, but new movies. We want them to be doing Hangover 3 and Ghostbusters 3, which is apparently going ahead. That's going to be a disaster, isn't it? And, we don't want just sequels. Sorry?
Sans Bill Murray?
Yes, Bill Murray's not doing it.
Well, it's going to be terrible, isn't it?
It's going to be terrible. So, we'd love to be able to, be more positive about it, but I've got no desire to go see it. It's been smacked around all over the place.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, it's in 3D as well, isn't it? So I've got to spend 2 hours of my life paying an bit of extra money to see something I'm not that interested in. It didn't look that great from the trailers, and yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's no worse than Ghost Rider 2.
I'm sure it isn't.
I'm sure it's probably a better film than the Clash of the Titans remake. I tell you,
the distinction with Ghost Rider 2 is that I'm certain Ghost Rider 2 didn't cost anywhere near the money.
Again, it's got Nicolas Cage in it, and people are going to see Nicolas Cage.
But Nicolas Cage will only be good for about 20 million in box office. He's not going to be. He's not going to cover a 300 million outlay, is he? Yeah. So I mean, if you had Sam Worthington in John Carter of Mars, you might possibly double your business. It would still lose hundreds of million.
I just think it was a massive gamble, wasn't it? A huge gamble to make on a film. You're taking a book which doesn't have a huge readership.
It's got no readership.
Yeah.
Who do you know who's read that book? I've never heard
Alan
of
Moore, I think, has read that book.
Alan Moore?
Yeah.
The graphic novelist?
Yes. I know that because John Carter is one of the characters from The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Is he?
He turns up in Volume 2, doesn't he?
Okay.
At the beginning.
Well, that's the War of the Worlds one.
Yeah. With the first episode's on Mars, isn't it?
Oh, that's
and
right.
John Carter is one of the people fighting the tripods on Mars.
That's great, by the way.
Him and Gulliver.
Both the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and graphic novels are great.
If
anybody out there is interested and hasn't read them, which I doubt.
I've read the first 2 episodes of Century as well, which is the latest one.
Oh, really? Is that good?
It's not as good as the first. It's not the first.
But League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is poor old Alan Moore. It's probably the even more than Watchmen, just a horrific rape of his original idea.
Certainly more than Watchmen.
It's totally awful.
Yeah.
Which is annoying because the casting's really good, but they've done weird things.
It's a great idea as well. I mean, but everything that makes the graphic novel of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen great, they completely ignore for the film.
And the thing is, John Carter doesn't have anything that early, that recent to tie it into modern culture.
Well, yeah.
Who cares? Basically, I wonder. They must have had these conversations where someone must have said, "Why are we doing John Carter? No one's heard of John Carter."
Yeah.
And if we're going to do a movie about a guy on Mars, shouldn't we come up with a more interesting title than John Carter, if considering nobody knows who John Carter is? Yeah,
but you can. I mean, there are a number of ways you can mitigate against having a flop.
Yeah,
and title's one thing. Publicity campaign's another thing. Who you've got in the movie, all that sort of thing. Loads of stuff not in any way linked to the quality of the movie. I mean, the movie can be as terrible as you like, but they still could have made a profit with John Carter. It's just, as I say, that they did everything wrong on that film, it seems.
If somebody's seen it, do let us know what you thought of it. I had this argument during the week, actually, with someone who asked why we hadn't gone to see it, and when, we're supposed to be movie podcasters. It's simply that, you don't need us to tell you it's no good. You've got the rest of the world telling you it's no good. I don't think piling on is going to do us any good, is it?
No. I've seen enough terrible films.
Yeah.
After bloody Ghost Rider 2.
We're not deliberately going to go and see a film that we know is going to be terrible. I mean, even Ghost Rider, I sort of had this crazy hope it was going to be okay.
Yeah.
Had this, just part of me thought maybe it's going to be a sleeper hit. And no, it's not. So, yeah. It's unfortunate, but the Hunger Games, conversely, is it's a more interesting title. It's had a better marketing campaign because you can't move anywhere without seeing the marketing campaign for the Hunger Games.
It's based on books lots of people have read.
Yeah, recently as well. So that's how that's a good idea.
Yeah,
that's
a good idea, well executed as well.
Perfect.
You
well
just
done.
Look at the way that film's made,
isn't it? Lionsgate made that movie.
You just look at the way the film's made, though. It's done with real imagination, real attention to detail. The narrative works. The pacing's just right. It's how you're supposed to do it.
Because it's a 2.5 hour movie, isn't it? Hunger Games.
Didn't feel that way.
You didn't get bored, but it is sort of episodic as well. But that's not a problem, really. It's sort of literature adapted correctly. So, in a way that others have not been so successful, like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and Watchmen, where they just ripped out what was good about them and left the boring bits.
Yeah.
Visit our Facebook page by searching for the 3M3 Madcast.
What have you watched this week apart from that? Or have you been
watched
too busy?
Lethal Weapon 3.
Hey!
Yeah.
Is that one of the Pesci ones?
Yep, certainly is.
Ah.
Or the unholy trilogy of Pesci Lethal Weapons.
Is that 2, 3 and 4?
Yeah.
Oh, dear. I always remember John Lovitz sending him up brilliantly in Loaded Weapon, the National Lampoon version.
Yeah, which is a brilliant film. The last great spoof ever made.
Oh, that's a big shout.
Yeah.
Probably right, though.
I can't think of a better spoof
They
that's
done
been
Naked
made.
Gun since then.
I think they made 33 and a third.
Oh, that's not the good one, though, is it?
No.
That's the worst one. But Loaded Weapon, done with love, isn't it? That's why.
Yeah.
Done with attention to detail and love.
Exactly.
So I watched a whole bunch of stuff this week. Oh, I watched Rumble in the Bronx. I'm a big Jackie Chan fan.
Oh, yeah, Rumble in the Bronx.
I know you're a Jackie Chan fan, Chris. I think the thing with Jackie Chan that marks him apart from people like Chow Yun-fat or Jet Li is that Jackie Chan does it all with a smile on his face, doesn't he? Even, I mean, I spoke a little bit a few weeks ago about New Police Story and how it was really downbeat, but by the end of it, they were having a fight in a bucket of Lego. I don't think Jackie Chan's like sort of the Charlie Chaplin of kung fu. Yeah, and he's a genius, and he'll do just. There's a couple of sequences in Rumble in the Bronx. I'm sure you can remember them. There's a bit where he's holding off a whole bunch of people using just a piece of children's playground equipment, and if you see him anywhere near a ladder, don't go near Jackie Chan when he's carrying a ladder. Yeah, and there's this astonishing. I mean, the thing is, it is a sort of nostalgia thing for me because I can remember going into school, after that was on TV and talking with everyone like, oh, isn't it amazing that bit where he did this and that bit where he did that. Like the story's completely incomprehensible and pointless. Unlike New Police Story, which was really good. The story in Rumble in the Bronx is he pisses some guys off. They keep trying to beat him up. That's pretty much it. Yeah. But he's such a likable guy. It's horribly dubbed. Yeah. The acting's really bad. Mm. But for some reason, I just love it. Yeah. It may just be that I saw it when I was a kid and,
Yeah, but that's just a lot of his films.
There's just this marvellous bit where he basically does a cartwheel, but while he's doing the cartwheel, he picks up the gun and points it at the guy. Mm. Usually when that happens, they do a cut to his hand picking up the gun and then go back to a different take of him finishing it with the gun in his hand, right? Well, not Jackie Chan. That's not how Jackie Chan works. Jackie Chan shows you one take of him cartwheeling, picking up the gun and pointing it at the guy's head. Genius. Well as he actually did his water skiing on Just Trainers effect as well. And
there's a scene where I think Jackie Chan's on a motorcycle and he goes up a ramp and he just goes flying through the air, and in the background you can see these non-native to New York mountains in the background. And it was filmed in Vancouver.
There's loads of dumb stuff in it like that.
But it's the fact that you get the outtakes at the end as well, and there's some really good ones with the ladder.
Without him actually breaking his ankle or whatever.
Yeah. And there's the one with I think because there's loads with that ladder because that ladder thing was so difficult.
Yeah. And there's that great effect in it where he jumps onto a car, jumps down through the sunroof, opens his legs, and a motorbike runs between his legs over the top of the car. But it's. Just think, why do you think this up?
Yeah,
completely uninsurable.
How is he not crocked as well? I mean,
I think he probably is now, isn't he? He must have pulled too many muscles at this stage.
Yeah.
But I also watched So I Married an Axe Murderer as well.
Oh, that's a blast from the past,
in which Mike Myers plays a Scottish person and an English. Yeah. I was on a retro trip.
Exactly.
That's not very good, actually. It's sort of likeable, but it's not a very good film.
No, it's not a great film.
Amanda
what's the name of the woman in it?
Nancy Travis.
Nancy Travis, yes.
Nancy Travis was in it. Nancy Travis and Anthony LaPaglia's in it.
Is he?
Yeah, the funniest bit in the whole movie is that Anthony LaPaglia plays this cop, and he's obviously a kid who grew up watching things like Lethal Weapon and wants his boss to order him around and be angry with him and stuff. And his boss is played by Alan Arkin, and he's just this really avuncular, nice guy. And he's so nice, in fact, that they come to an agreement where they come to an agreement where Alan Arkin will just shout at him, just because it makes him feel better. But he approaches it like an actor. So at the end of it, he's shouting at him and goes, "Was that okay? I felt I went too far on that?" And it's like, "No, it was great. It was great." That was fantastic. That's the only good bit. And there's a Stephen Wright cameo in it as well, which I'd forgotten, which dates it perfectly to the 90s, doesn't it? And I think that's about it. I did watch Dreamscape. That's a bit earlier than the 90s, isn't it? That's Randy Quaid. Not Randy Quaid, the other one. The one who isn't mental. Dennis Quaid.
Yeah.
Dennis Quaid movie with him going into people's dreams. Have you ever seen that movie?
No, I haven't seen that film.
It's interesting. It's the sort of hokey science movie you got in the 80s where they were like, oh, science will be able to do anything. It's sort of like the dream version of Inner Space, basically.
Another Dennis Quaid film.
Yeah. But Dennis Quaid's a very likeable lead. It has Kate Capshaw in it as well, Mrs. Spielberg. And it's pretty likeable. The effects are pretty laughable by today's standards, but that's true of so many of these high concept movies that
I'm sure we'll be saying the same thing in 20 years' time.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't think. The thing is, I don't think people will be looking at Avatar and laughing at it not for its effects.
No.
In 20 years' time.
Do you really like this?
Oh my lord. It's getting its it will have passed by the time this is released, but it's getting its network premiere this weekend, Chris.
I won't be watching.
Channel 4. You couldn't
Titanic 3D. I won't be watching.
I would literally have to be paid to watch Avatar again. I can't go through that again for free.
No, absolutely. It's like James Cameron did. He did Aliens, and that was awesome. And now he's just going to spend the rest of his life f***ing cinema up.
Did you not like The Abyss? I quite like The Abyss.
No, I don't like The Abyss.
Oh, what else has he made? Terminator 2. You must like Terminator 2.
Yeah, I like
Everyone likes Terminator 2.
Terminator 2, Aliens. There you go. 3 decent films. And now he's just spending the rest of his life just annoying me.
Titanic.
Oh, it's wretched, isn't it?
I actually went on a date to Titanic with my ex-girlfriend. I think it was early in our relationship. I think we saw it in Southend. And I should have seen the warning signs then.
You had a girlfriend at secondary school? Well, I had no such thing.
You knew her, Chris.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. So we went to that. It was horrible. And because it was a date, I had to come out of it saying, yeah, it was really moving. But I'll tell you this now, I lied. I hate it. 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 I hate it.
Yeah, I know. It's a despicable film, isn't it?
I don't think despicable is the word. I think just tedious, pretentious, and sort of ahistorical. It's just not accurate.
I think despicable is actually quite the right word. There's I think that somewhere in there's a village in Scotland which has a monument to the first mate of Titanic, a guy called Murdoch. Yeah. Now, because Murdoch he was an incredibly brave man that just, he did incredible work getting women and children off the ship. Really saved a lot of lives. But in the film Titanic, he's a guy who shoots Irish people and then himself because he's an evil English person. Rah! Despite the fact he was Scottish. Rah!
Well, okay.
Yeah. So that's that. But that's not the reason I hate Titanic. That's just part of it. I could go on, but I hate it.
No, and if there's one thing that was not going to make me more excited at the idea of going to see Titanic again, it's the fact that it's going to be in 3D.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I could go watch a double bill of The Phantom Menace and Titanic in 3D. Or I could pour acid into my own face.
Yeah. In 3D.
I'd certainly experience that in 3D. So that's it for this week. Until next time... may the odds be ever in your favour, Chris. Yes. My name is Alec.
Despite the fact you've stacked the odds heavily against my favour, my name's been Chris.
And that's it for another week. Thanks for listening to the Movie and DVD podcast. We love you for doing so, don't we, Chris?
Stay positive.
Stay positive. Yeah, that's communism. Can I just ask, did you spot that it was Elizabeth Banks under all that makeup?
No, really? Oh my God.
There's a surprising cameo for you in the Hunger Games. Anyway, so there we go. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the 3M3 Madcast. This episode, number 60, ladies and gentlemen, was recorded on the 24th of March 2012. It was presented by Alec Chapman and Chris Millwood with Lenny Kravitz. Yes, that was Lenny Kravitz. Weird. The show is produced and edited by Alec Chapman. Thanks for listening. We'll see you again next time.